Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Forum YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mailloux, and we are getting ready for a big week ahead at Saratoga. Thursday will actually be the second of 5 consecutive days at Saratoga for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about race number 7, which is going to be the Grade 2 Intercontinental. But before we get into Thursday, let's talk about the Belmont Stakes packages that are available for everyone out there. You can get a package that will have races from Wednesday through Sunday, past performances, clocker reports, all taken care of. Or if you're just going to focus on Saturday, we have a package for you for that one as well. That includes the betting strategies and the player's guide. Let's take a look at the field for the Grade 2 Intercontinental. A very good turf sprint here for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 5.5 furlongs. The two inside horses had a fun little rivalry towards the end of last year. Future Is Now and Pandora's Gift. They were not separated by a whole heck of a lot. I think they're the two that I kind of have on top of the rest of the field right now because they are so evenly matched and they are coming off of a good effort in the Giants Causeway. But they're not necessarily head and shoulders above everyone else. Dance Macabre wasn't too far behind them. Pipsy, I think, is a little bit interesting. You have a horse like Twirling Queen, who had a really nice year last year and will have her first start of the year at 4. So a good group, but I think certainly the horses to beat are probably down towards the inside.
I agree with you. I don't think they are heads and shoulders above the rest. I think based on their resumes, though, there's some upside. I mean, Future Is Now is just such a consistent mare. And then Pandora's Gift, we've only seen her a handful of times stateside. And sure, it hasn't resulted in a trip to the winner's circle, but it looks like she's almost going to get there, right? And I have a feeling that day is going to come very soon. But others in here exit very nice wins or very nice in the money finishes. And I think the key here with these sprints, anytime you talk about a sprint, there's a big difference in these sprint races when they're 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. And this one at 5.5, I think is going to flatter some of these fillies.
Run for the Hills is a main track only, so if this race stays on the turf, he will be out. She will be out as we move to the pace projector. Let's see how Timeform US thinks this one will shape up. Ashley, I could see this thing going a few different ways because you have Future Is Now, who has speed, who can sit a little bit. You have On Command, who will want to press. Twirling Queen is fresh. Even Pipsy. Like, I could see this going in different ways. So you have a lot of horses who are quick, but can also sit off a little bit if they have to.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, when you look at this, how quick are they actually going to go? I mean, it's really hard to make those decisions because On Command in that turf race last time out went fairly quick, but there are times that Future Is Now can go very, very quick, right? Sub 44 has been part of those sort of fractions. So we'll see how it shakes up. It's always interesting with these sprint races. I do think Future Is Now sort of has the forced hand, has to go.
Yeah.
Whether that is on the lead, we'll find out, but this horse does not want to be closing.
Pandora's Gift will kick things off as we meet the field here for the Intercontinental. This is a Grade 2, $200,000 up for grabs. Going to go as race number 7 on Thursday at Saratoga. So in this race, Ashley, this is the Giants Causeway. We actually have Future Is Now, Pandora's Gift, and Dance Macabre, the top 3 finishers from this race, all return. And I think they all ran like their race. They all ran pretty well. Even the third place finisher, Dance Macabre, you sort of know what you're going to get from her. She's just a late runner. She needs a little bit of help up front, and she needs more pace than she was able to get in here. Just a tight photo. That was such a brutal beat if you were on the Pandora's Gift side. So how do you interpret that race when you have those two so evenly matched there and they come right back and they're in the 1 and the 2 post here?
Yeah, it's tough because I think when you look at Pandora's Gift, that performance, she was sort of chasing throughout, right? She had to chase early. Future Is Now. Those top 2, they were the pace setters in there. And you mentioned the third place finisher was the only one really closing, but I don't think there was any bias or anything of that nature. I just think the top 2 were better. And I think when you look at Pandora's Gift, the question is she going to be able to turn the tables on Future Is Now? You go 2 back at Keeneland in the Franklin, same sort of thing. I do like that she was closer last time out to it, right? And she comes up a little bit short. I think that was sort of the difference maker. And I think we haven't seen her best race yet. To me, she's getting better with those starts. I know the buyers don't necessarily jump off the page a 95 to a 97, but I think she has the ability to maybe turn the tables on Future Is Now. If you're like me and think that win streak is going to come to an end soon, I think she could be one of the fillies to do it.
Future Is Now and Pandora's Gift are both going to be making their second start back. That's what makes it really tough too. Like, you're not looking at one of the others and being like, oh, they'll have the advantage because they got the race, the comeback race off the bench. Both of them are in that same situation. But Future Is Now very, very sharp right now. He's won 5 of the last 6. This mare is 8 for 15 overall. She just loves to win races. But she's now starting to get bet, right? You could play her a little bit more a few starts back, but now her reputation is starting to follow her around. So she's not going to be a real big price in here.
No, and she won this race last year. Let's start off there, right? And she was tracking in second and got up to win by a head. I think I'm excited for her and Pandora's Gift to meet outside of Keeneland. I know that doesn't seem like it's a huge thing. I'm curious on that. And obviously she has early foot. She can go quick. She can, sit just off of it if she wants to, maybe sit off a length at most. But she's really hard to knock. I'm just such a firm believer of these win streaks eventually come to an end. And you have to be willing to decide if you want to go against her at 2-1. I probably do, right? I think there's better value in here and some other fillies and mares that are taking the right steps forward and maybe can turn the tables.
You were pointing out she might not be in the easiest spot because down to the inside, Pandora's Gift has shown speed. And then right outside of her on Command has also shown speed. Now she's won 3 of the last 5, but only one of those has been on the turf. She wants to be up close early. This is definitely a tougher field than she's faced, though.
It is. And as you go back to the license fee and you look at the performance and how she was able to do it, I know it wasn't a big field, but she beats Time to Dazzle, who she'll have to face again. And she went to the lead and she stayed in front. It's a career best effort from her. Gets an 86. It was going a little bit longer, 6 furlongs versus the 5.5 in the Intercontinental. And can't knock this performance. I mean, she's still at 56 for 5 furlongs. She was still rocking and rolling up there. It seems like Katie Davis has gotten along with her very well. Look at the last 3 efforts. So I think there's some upside, and Amelia Green with her runners has done a tremendous job for a young trainer of getting these horses ready to roll and then also spotting them well.
Dance Macabre is the next one up. We actually saw her in that backtrack, that replay, where she closed well. She was up the inside, finishing 3rd behind Future Is Now and Pandora's Gift. Dance Macabre's a grade 3 winner. That was at a mile, but has wins at 5.5. Just needs a little bit of help, though. That's really the key with her. She's just not quite as fast as Pandora's Gift and Future Is Now early. So she'll settle back in the pack and she'll hope they go quick. And you just sort of, she's going to come running late. She's a really nice underneath horse, just needs the perfect kind of trip in a spot like this.
She does. And I don't think the distance is necessarily an issue. I mean, based on her style, you might think she wants to go a little bit further, and she has had success at 6.5 and run good races, but she can still win at 5.5. She's shown that. I do like in terms of the Giants Causeway, she was the only one that was really closing. You could see her make that move up towards the inside. And we'll see what she can do now, just making her second start since that race in August at Kentucky Downs. I think in terms of where you could probably play her, she does win a lot. She's very consistent, only off the board once, which was 2 starts back, but I would be using her in the exotics.
Number 5, Twirling Queen, will be making her first start in 5.5 months. Very nice 3-year-old season, though. And so if she can step forward off of some of her races last year, that would put her in the mix with this group. She's a multiple stakes winner. But as you were kind of describing the turf sprints and the differences, she seems really like a 5 furlong that can get 5.5. She has been able to get it a couple times. I don't know how much farther she really wants to go. So I worry sometimes with her about distance, like if she's battling with other horses up front. But I thought last year was a very solid year. And if she's able to kind of build off of like the low 90 buyer speed figures and just take a step forward off of those, that puts her right in the mix with these. Can she do it, though, in her first start off the bench?
That's going to be the question. My issue with her race last time out, she runs an okay 4th. She was favored, so maybe you look at that as a negative. They were rocking and flying. I mean, sub 21 by a lot, 20-1, 42-3, blistering fractions. And I don't know what to do with it, knowing that the winner and the second place finisher, they were 7th and 8th early in the race. She was in 6th. I feel like they were just a little bit better. But a race 2 back, as you mentioned, 5 furlongs worked out well for her. I think she likes to sit a trip where, I don't know, she's a couple of lengths off of it and she tries to run them down. I just think, for me, I think there are other fillies and mares that I find a little bit more intriguing. And the layoff for her is a little bit of a concern for me. She has been able to run well off of it, but you can't really look at the Raven run and make anything of it. I don't think she's a dirt horse by any means. So she's tough for me to assess.
Pipsy is the next one. I think she's a bit interesting in here, Ashley, because she'll go second start back off of the break now, second start as a 4-year-old. She has some speed. The key for me, if I'm playing her, is what kind of trip will she get? Because I would love to see her sitting off a little bit. And we know that she can do that. In her debut in the US, she actually came from way out of it when she missed the break. She's been more forward overall. Like, she wants to be more forwardly placed, but I'd love to see her sit in second or third off the pace a little bit. I think she could get a good trip if doing so. Second start back, she is a grade 3 winner. For me, though, it really comes down to hoping she can not get caught up in a pace battle with maybe some of the horses down on the inside.
Yeah, you bring up a great point with her. Maybe you want her to sit a little bit more. I do feel like in some of her races, she's just been sort of headstrong and wants to go and hasn't worked out for her. And it's interesting because when you look at her race back in May of 2024, she closed from last and could still win going 6 furlongs. So I don't know what they're going to end up doing with her in terms of where she'll be most comfortable. I don't know if she's necessarily as quick as others in here. So maybe she's going to be forced rate, and maybe that is good for her. But her race at Kentucky Downs last year in September, thought it was a really game performance. Simply in Front has turned out to be a very nice filly for Colebrook Farms, and she only missed by half a length. So she could be the right price in here, and maybe if she gets that right trip and she's able to relax early, can be flying light.
You're kind of hitting on it. I'm thinking that she may not be quite as quick as some of the others, because it looked like 6.5 and 6. She's able to get the lead there. If
Right.
she's just not quite as quick and sits second or third, maybe that could be one of those blessing in disguises for her. We move to Carrie U, who's a graded stakes place filly, but hasn't raced since October and was behind Future Is Now, Pandora's Gift, when we saw in the Franklin on October the 13th. So while she's not completely overmatched, she does need to improve on a couple of the top contenders in here. That was my issue with her. Plus, she has to do it off the bench. So I like her as a horse, and I played her a couple times last year. I just would love to have seen one race this year and this be her second start back.
Yeah, that is always the thing that you want to see. And it's tougher with the turf horses, right? Because in the winter months, you're sort of limited as to where you can run, depending where you're stabled at. But I think the main thing is, I thought she had a kind of a tough ride last time out in the Franklin. I don't think things were easy. And I think when you look at the other horses, the cleaner trips, right? They had some speed. And so that's a little bit of a different story. I like her better going shorter distances. I actually like her at the 5.5 furlong distance. I thought her runner up behind Twirling Queen was very nice. That was locally at Saratoga. And you see Flavian's climbing aboard, never a bad thing, but very curious to see what price she is. And in my opinion, there's going to be enough pace for her if she can get a clean trip to be, rallying from off of it.
Time to Dazzle has won 3 times, but all 3 of those wins have been at a mile or plus. And it's not like she's bad at this trip, Ashley, but she just needs a setup. Kind of reminds me of what we were saying about Dance Macabre. Like, she's capable if they go quick enough, but she just seems like she needs the right type of trip. Going longer, she's able to kind of relax a little bit more and control things and get a better trip. Does Time to Dazzle fit with this group?
I think she fits. It's just the question for me is the 5.5 furlongs. I think they will go quicker for her. So if she's going to try to sit from off of it, maybe she gets the right trip. But you look at those wins, the wins have been at a mile and 70 yards. So maybe this is a starting point, and maybe if she doesn't run well here, we'll see her stretch out around 2 turns.
Creed's Gold will be the next one. And on big weeks like this, Ashley, when there's like a lot of races, a lot of handicapping to do, I love to throw something on in the background, like a TV show or movies that I've watched that I don't need to be paying attention to, just kind of like my background noise. I've had the Rocky movies on recently. I've been going through the marathon. So I'm bobbing and weaving. I'm singing The Eye of the Tiger. I'm thinking all about Creed and Rocky Balboa. But I really couldn't get there with Creed's Gold. I think the horse is in good form, is fast, gets the outside draw here. I feel like it could have him hooked a little bit wide in this spot. Stakes place on the improve. So overall, I don't have many knocks. I just think with the draw and against this group might be a little tough. So they'll definitely need to be bobbing and weaving and try to get the better of this one.
And she's consistent. I can't knock her there, but I think you bring up valid points, right? This is a jump up in class for her. She did get a win last time out. I think looking at her form, she looks to be a better 4-year-old filly than she was a 3-year-old filly. So I think that's a positive sign, and she should be close to the action. But I think, based on her last 2, or there's been some give in the ground, we'll see what the weather's like later this week. I think they're going to go a little bit quicker, and I wonder if she has to chase hard if that works against her.
Running at the field is the main track only run for the hills. So we move to selections here, Ashley, in what I thought's a pretty evenly matched group, at least with like the 3 or 4 towards the top if they got the right type of trips. How are you going to stack them up?
I'm gonna go with the inside in here, Pandora's Gift. I think she can finally turn the tables on the 2 in here, who we're both gonna try to beat, right? That's the strategy. The 2's not gonna offer value in here, and I just have a feeling this is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I think in the case of Pandora's Gift, 2 starts off the layoff now. I think she's gonna be in better form, and we'll just see what the tactics are. She is handy enough that I think with the inside draw, you can play the break and make your decisions from there.
You see, we both have the 1, 2, and 4 in the mix. Ashley will throw the 7 in as a price. I'll throw Pipsy on top, hoping Pipsy can sit that maybe second or third trip and get the first run on some of the deeper closers in here. That is Thursday over at Saratoga. This one is going to kick off that late pick 4 sequence. We wish you all the best of luck.